Before we start, as usual, we are going to revise what we talked last time, what we had taken last time. My first question about this part. What did Araceli ask from Juan Verdades? If you know the answer, raise your hand. What did Araceli ask from Juan Verdades to bring to him? Yes, yes, Ryan.
Yes, Mister.
Yes. What did Araceli ask from Juan Verdades to bring to him?
She 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 asked him for to give her all all the apples in
Of,
man in
of
man
in
of
Manzano, yeah.
manzana tree. Real.
Yes, yes. Well done. Thanks so much, Ryan.
And
You can meet yourself. Another question that we have. What did Wonder Dice do when Araceli asked from him all the apples of Manzano? Did he accept or no? Yes, Abdurrahman?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Can you say the question again?
Okay. What did Wonder Dice do when Araceli asked from him all the apples of Manzano? Yes, Abdurrahman.
He he finally
At first, they accept or no?
first he didn't when uh, when she told him, but after she was telling him for 2 weeks, he accepted and brought for her the apples.
What? I don't understand what you said. Can we listen for another one answer?
After, okay,
Okay. Yes, Adam.
yes, Mister.
Yes, what did
Uh,
one Verdades do when Araceli asked from him all the apples of Elantanoia?
at first he said at first he said no, or he disagreed because he had to make because he had to have one because he had to
Permission? Have a
uh,
permission from the owner, yes?
of the honor
Yes.
and but then after time before the day the 2 weeks were over,
Yes.
he gave all the apples to Arcely.
Yes, well done. Yes, excellent. As you said that one Verdades collected all the apples on a wagon, it selects every single apples and put in the wagon and he gives this wagon to Araceli. Okay. Today I will note together that after what Juan did, he started to think what he would say to his owner. So as we can see in front of us in the picture, at first he put his jacket in the tree and his hat, and he started to talk to the tree as he imagined that he is talking to Don Ignacio and what he would say to him and what about what he did. At first, he started by saying, "Good evening, Mika Batas." He was talking to the jacket that he put on the tree as he imagined. He doesn't talk to the owner himself, but he imagined that he's talking. As he said, he pretended he heard the tree say, "Good evening, me Patton. How goes it with my cattle and land? Your cattle are hers, your pastures are green, and the fruit of Manzano, he started to stop. He paused. He think for a lie. What can he say? He said, the, the crows have carried the fruit away. He was hesitated to tell a lie. Then he started to think for another lie in the next page. What he can say for his honor. He said here, but words were hardly out of his mouth when he heard himself say, "No, that's not true, me Baton. I picked the fruit." Then he paused, and then He stopped himself. Then he started to think for another lie, as he said. He took a deep breath and started over again with good evening, Mikapatas. And when he reached the end, he sputtered. He was hesitated by saying the the wind chucked the apples to the ground, and the crows come and eat. The crows came and ate them. Then he stopped again. No, 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 they didn't, me patron. I also he start to sing for another line. He can't accept himself when he is lying. Okay, so he tried to tell a lie, but he couldn't. He tried to tell a lie, but he couldn't. Now let's listen for this part together. So at first, when he tried to tell the truth, when we tried to tell a lie, he started to imagine as he couldn't tell a lie. And we will know in the next page that we study tomorrow, inshallah, that one of Verdades couldn't tell a lie and he will tell the truth. He will tell the owner what happened for him. Now we are going to listen, and after this part, I show a video for Joe Hayes, the one who illustrates the story. He's an old man, okay? So you must listen one. He narrates the story as I told you, as I explained to you. So you are going to listen after we listen this part together. Are you ready? Are you ready to listen, all of you? Yes, grade six. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
mister.
Okay. I
I'm
play.
so ready.
Okay. At
Yes,
first, we
mister.
are going to listen for the text, then we are going to listen for this part of it.
Mister, we will read today.
Yes, if we have time, we are going to read. Okay.
Okay.
I share the sound of my computer, and please tell me if you can hear or not.
Okay.
Sorry.
Of another way to tell Don Ignacio.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Yes, mister, we can hear.
Okay. I'll make it bigger to be clear.
The news, and then to wait for a chance to talk to Don Ignacio, too. Juan rode until he came to a place where there were several dead trees. He dismounted and walked up to one of them. Then he took off his hat and jacket and put them on the dead tree and pretended it was Don Ignacio. He started talking to it to see if he could tell it a lie. "Good evening, mi capitas," he pretended he heard the tree say. "Good evening, mi patron. How goes it with my cattle and land? Your cattle are healthy, your pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? The crows have carried the fruit away."
As I told you, he started to think for a lie, what he can tell his owner about the apple.
But the words were hardly out of his mouth when he heard himself say, "No, that's not true, mi patron. I picked the fruit." And then he stopped himself. He took a deep breath and started over again with, "Good evening, mi capitas." And when he reached the end, he sputtered, The wind shook the apples to the ground, and the cows came and ate them. No, they didn't, mi patron. He tried over and over until he realized there was no way he could tell a lie. But he knew he could never come right out and say what he had done either. He had to think.
So he tried to tell a lie with himself. He imagined that he was talking to his owner, Don Ignacio, but he couldn't tell him. It's supposed that this is the next part we completed tomorrow. Now I'll show a video about the narrator or the illustrated who's called Joe Hayes. I think if you open page uh, page 441. 441. You will see this picture or the photo of Joe Hayes, the illustrator of the story. Sorry,
Page what?
the narrator of the story. Page 441 is the photo of Joe Hayes and biography about him. I see this one photo, not my photo only for Joe Hayes. We are going to, I'm going to show you a video about this person who's called Johan is the one who told the story, the one who told the story.
Okay.
Okay, and be ready, please. He narrates the story in a different way that can help you more to understand the story. Okay,
Mister,
yes,
you can mute us to hear well.
okay, okay, don't mind.
Juan Verdades.
Just wait, I play the video. Just wait for the narrator of this story, Johannes, the storyteller, Johannes. Okay,
I'm going to tell the story of Juan
just
Verdades,
share the video with
el
you now.
hombre.
Wait, please. Hey, this is the one that the storyteller. Okay, you can see as the same picture that you have in your book.
I'm going to tell the story of Juan Verdades, el hombre que no sabía mentir, the man who
As we can see, he used some Spanish word and he translated in English. Okay,
couldn't tell a lie. The whole story started one Sunday afternoon in late summer. A group of wealthy rancheros had gathered on the village plaza. They were joking and laughing and talking about events on their ranches. And one of those men, his name was Don Ignacio. He had a wonderful apple tree on his ranch. He called that tree El Manzano Real, the royal apple tree. It had been planted by his great grandfather. And that tree gave the fattest, reddest, juiciest, sweetest fruit of any apple tree in the country round about. Everyone for miles around knew about El Manzano Real. And every year, everyone hoped they would receive a small basket of its delicious fruit. And so each one of the ranchers asked Don Ignacio how the fruit was ripening on his tree. And to each one he replied, Va de maravilla, amigo. It's doing marvelously. My foreman takes excellent care of that tree. And every evening he reports to me. He tells me how the fruit is ripening. When he said that to his old friend, Don Arturo, his friend said to him, Don Ignacio, do you mean to tell me you don't care for your magnificent tree yourself? How can you have so much faith in your employee? Don Ignacio told him, my foreman has never failed me in any way. He has never told me a lie. Don Arturo said, I don't believe that. There never was an employee who didn't lie to his boss. But Don Ignacio told him, this young man doesn't know how to lie. His name is Juan Valdez, but everybody calls him Juan Verdades because he is so honest. Well, the two friends went on arguing back and forth in a good-natured way. But little by little they began raising their voices and calling the attention of the other men on the plaza. And then finally Don Arturo spoke up in a loud voice and he said, I will bet you anything you want that within 2 weeks I can make that foreman tell you a lie. Don Ignacio said, Muy bien. I will bet my whole ranch against your ranch that you can't do it. When the other ranchers heard that, they started to laugh. Ho, 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 Don Arturo, they said, now we'll see how sure you are that you're right. And Don Arturo said, As sure as I am that my name is Arturo Jose Santa Maria Rodriguez Carvajal.
As we listen, he used some Spanish language, okay? Some Spanish word, I mean, okay? Some Spanish word like mi patron, mi capital, according to the story that we have in the story, the word that we have in the story. Also, the word amigo means friend, okay? These Latin words.
And then he said to Don Ignacio, it's a bet, but you must give me permission to try anything I want. The two men shook hands on the bet, and the other ranchers agreed to be witnesses. And then soon the gathering broke up, and all of the ranchers mounted their horses to ride home to their ranches. As Don Arturo was riding along, he began to think about what he had just done. By the time he got home, he was afraid that maybe he had made a very big mistake. When he told his wife and his daughter about the bet he had made, his wife started to cry. She said, Ay, Dios mío, ¿qué será de nosotros si perdemos el rancho? But Don Arturo's daughter, her name was Araceli, and she was a very lively and clever young woman. She laughed and said to her mother, Stop crying, stop worrying. We're not going to lose our ranch. And then she suggested to her father that he come up with an excuse for the family to stay at Don Ignacio's ranch for a while. She said, if we're staying on his ranch, we'll surely find out a way to come out the winners. So the next day, Don Arturo rode to Don Ignacio's ranch, and he said to his friend, my men are repairing the cracks in the walls of my house and giving all the walls a fresh new coat of whitewash. It would be better for my wife and my daughter and me to be away from the home. Could we stay here with you for a while? Don Ignacio was a bit suspicious, but he was bound by the rules of hospitality. He smiled and said, Sí, cómo no, esta es su casa. Make yourself at home. So later that afternoon, Don Arturo brought his daughter and his wife to live in Don Ignacio's house for a while. And the next morning, the girl, Araceli, got up at dawn and went to the ranch kitchen, as she always did at home, and she made some coffee. The young foreman was already there, drinking a cup of coffee he had made for himself and eating a
Sorry, can I skip this part, please? Next one, to move into the next one, because it will take much time if we watch all the video.
He smiled at him and greeted him politely. He returned the greeting and then hurriedly finished his breakfast and went off to do his work. And the girl stood close by listening to what they said. First, Don Ignacio said, Buenas tardes, mi capataz. And Juan replied, Buenas tardes, mi patron. Don Ignacio said, How goes it with my cattle and land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green.
Is this before he gave
And
the
the fruit
apple of
of
the
el
tree,
manzano real,
the apples of the tree
beautiful, beautiful, and
to
ripening
Araceli,
well.
okay?
Except, of course, they did say it in Spanish. It went more like this. Buenas tardes, mi capataz. Buenas tardes, mi patrón. ¿Qué tal del terreno y mi ganado? Las vacas son gordas, muy verde el prado. Y la fruta del manzano real, hermosa, hermosa, está por madurar. Later that night, Araceli and her father talked, and they decided on a plan. The next morning, she got up before dawn. She went to the kitchen and made coffee, offered them to Juan when he arrived very kindly. Did the same had expected was this. She began falling in love with the handsome young foreman. She began to wish that she might even end up marrying him. So she continued to work on the plan that she and her father had. Well, as for Juan, he knew that he was only a worker. He didn't dream of marrying the daughter of a wealthy rancher. He said, Senorita Araceli, you're so kind to get up early each morning and have coffee and a good breakfast waiting for me. I'd like to repay you in some way. Ask me for whatever you would like from this ranch. I will talk to Don Ignacio and see that it's given to you. That is exactly the question the girl was waiting for. And she gave the answer that she and her father had planned. She said, the only thing I'd like to have from this whole ranch is all of the apples from El Manzano Real. Juan was surprised and dismayed by that request. He said, oh, please ask for something else. You know how much Don Ignacio treasures the fruit from that tree. He would never agree to that. I would have to pick the apples without permission. And then what could I say to Don Ignacio? And they went their separate ways. The same thing they said each evening. Buenas tardes, mi. ¿Qué tal de terreno y del ganado? No real, hermosa, hermosa, está por madurar. Kindness. Ask for something besides what you asked for yesterday. I will see that it's given to you. But she told him, the only thing I want from this ranch is the apples from El Manzano Real. But with each passing day, Juan was falling more hopelessly in love. He gave in. He said he would give her the fruit. He hitched up a wagon and drove to the tree. He picked every single apple and he delivered them to Araceli. Araceli hurried off to tell her father what had happened. Ignacio, too. As for Juan, he rode and rode along sadly until he came to a place where there were several dead trees. He took off his hat and his jacket and put them on one of the dead trees. He pretended it was Don Ignacio and he tried to tell it a lie. He imagined he heard the tree say, Buenas tardes, mi capataz. He replied, Buenas tardes, mi patron. How are things going with my cattle and my land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? Oh, patron, a big flock of crows came along and grabbed all of... No, that's not really the truth. He stopped himself. He tried again. Buenas tardes, mi capataz. Buenas tardes, mi patron. How goes it with my cattle and land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? Oh, the cattle knocked down the fence and they got... No, that didn't really happen. He tried over and over. He could not tell a lie. He took his hat and his coat from the tree and he rode sadly back to the ranch. All day long, he wondered what he could say to his boss. He couldn't tell a lie, but he couldn't come right out and say what he had done. And all day long, Don Ignacio wondered what he was going to hear from his foreman. Because as soon as Don Arturo saw the apples, he ran gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. And he said, you are about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades.
That's all for this part. We have some question about this part of today. Pay attention to this. I'd like to ask you to answer the question with me. I'll open the mic for all of you to participate with me. And the first question that we have, if you know the answer, raise your hand. Who said to? Number one, your cattle are fine and your pastures is greener than ever. Who said these words? Yes, Muhammad Zuhair. Muhammad Zuhair, yes.
Yes, I did as I raised my hand before.
Okay, okay. Who said these words?
Your cattle are fine and your Juan Verdade.
To whom?
To Don Ignacio.
Yes, well done. Juan Verdades to Don Ignacio. Number two, I would like to have all the apples open Mandanuina.
Mr. Me, I can answer.
Yes, mine is huh?
Wait. Araceli to Juan Verdades.
Yes, Araceli to Juan Verdades. Okay, the next one. This would be, it's supposed to be
Me,
for
mister.
the last page. Okay, the one that you'll see would be in the last page. Yes. Okay,
Me,
okay,
mister.
okay, Abdurrahman. Huh?
I know, mister.
You read the story or at all the story?
Yes, mister. I read.
Okay, huh?
I will not.
Yes.
Me too, mister.
Okay, who can answer?
You want
Okay, Ryan, yes,
that is
yes, Ryan.
to Araceli. Juan
Again,
Verdades to Araceli, mister.
Juan Verdades to your
Juan
Araceli. Huh? You can see the answer together because this one
Juan
was
Verdades to Araceli.
is Juan Verdades to
Yes.
Araceli. Okay. Suppose this one would be at the last page, at the last page of the story. Okay? But no problem because I connect to all the question of who said to whom. Okay. This would be our questions of today. Okay. Uh,
Still,
I hope that
still
you
5
understood this
minutes.
part of today.
Still
Yes.
5 minutes.
Step 5 minutes. We are going to read. Yes. What?
Tomorrow we'll finish the story.
Mister, can I read?
Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow we'll finish the story.
I
Yes.
already
And
read it.
after
I already
tomorrow.
read it.
Yes, well done, Muhammad. After tomorrow, we start to answer the question of the booklet. Yes, a question.
Okay.
Okay. And now I ask you to read. Please lower your hand. I hope that you understood this part. Do you have any question?
Oh.
Okay. Now we are going to start reading for these pages. I show the page to this to you. Okay. Yes, we can. These I ask one by one. We have about 4 minutes only. Okay, that's enough to read these pages. Okay. Uh, okay, Ali. Yes, Ali.
Yes, mister.
Ali, can you start reading? Ali,
Okay, from which?
this page.
Yes, mister. Can you hear me?
400. Yes, I'd like to hear to speak up. Okay. Page 435.
The news,
Yes.
starting from the news, or what?
Yes. Yes.
The news, and then to wait for a chance to talk to Don Ignacio too. Juan rode until he came to a place where there were several dead trees. He dismounted and walked up
The name again,
to one
Ali.
of them.
The name again. Juan, not Juan. Juan came as a Spanish word. Okay. Spanish name. Juan
He,
rode until, yes, complete
he
on.
dismounted and
Yes.
he dismounted and walked up to one of them. Then he took off his hat and jacket and put them on the dead tree
Ali, can you
and
turn on your
pretended it
cameras?
was Don
Ali,
Ignacio.
your cameras.
Okay, mister. He started talking to it to see if he could tell it a lie. Good evening, me.
Yes.
So what is this?
Make a dance.
Mika Batas. He
Yes.
pretended he heard the tree say good evening, me patron.
Yes.
How goes it with my cattle and land? Your cattle are healthy, your pastures
Your
are
pasture.
green,
Your pasture. It means a field. Huh?
are green, and the
Or
fruit of El Malzano, the crows have carried the fruit away.
the cows have carried the fruit away. Thanks so much, Ali. We can ask. Okay, Karim. Just looking on my phone. Okay, Karim. Huh? The next page.
But the words were hardly out of his mouth when he said himself, "Say no, this this is this is
That's
not
not.
true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Hmm.
May you
Me patron.
may, may you battle." I picked the fruit, and then he stopped himself. He took a deep breath and started over again with "Good morning,
Good
no,
evening.
good evening, me,
Make a batan.
Mika, Mika Kabat."
Make a batan.
And when he reached to the end, he he spotted that the the wind shook the apples to the ground, and the cows came and ate them. No,
The
they
cows
didn't.
came, yes, and they ate, yes, them, yes.
But I he tried over and over until he realized that there was no way he could tell a lie, but he knew he could never come right out and say what he had done either. He had to think.
He had to think of another way to tell Don Ignacy. Thanks so much, Karim. I think that's the session finished now, all of you, grade 6. What subject that you have? Okay, I'll open the mic for all of you. What subject that you have?
Science.
Mr.
Science.
Ibrahim, science.
Mr.
Mr.
Ibrahim,
Science.
Ibrahim,
yes,
science.
yes, I
Mr. Ibrahim
found
is here.
Mr. Ibrahim.
He's in the class.
Okay, and Mr. Ibrahim, you are the host now.
Goodbye, Master.
Goodbye, my news. Okay, Mr. Ibrahim,
Goodbye.
goodbye. See you tomorrow, inshallah.
Mister, what is the meaning of pasture?
Fields or farms, okay? The same meaning of fields or farms. Mr. Ibrahim, you are here?
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Ibrahim, you received the host? Okay.
Mr. Hamada.
Okay, Mr. Ibrahim.